You're standing at the counter. There's a line behind you. You tap your card. Declined. You pause. Maybe it didn't go through. You try again. Declined. Now it's quiet. The cashier glances at you. The person behind you shifts a little. And in that moment, one thought hits you. Wait, I have money. You've checked your balance before coming. You know there's enough. So what just happened? Most people assume this only happens when their account is empty, like it's some kind of warning sign. You spent too much, now you're out. But that's not always true. This can happen even when you have money sitting right there in your account. And that's the part that confuses people the most, because if the money's there, why can't you use it? I started noticing this pattern after hearing the same story over and over again. Someone checks their balance, sees a number they're comfortable with, and then suddenly their card doesn't work. It feels random, but it's not. There's a system behind it, and it has less to do with how much money you have and more to do with how your money is being tracked in that moment. Here's something most people don't think about. The number you see in your bank account isn't always fully available to spend. There's a difference between what's there and what's actually usable, and that gap is where things start to break down. Let's say your balance shows $500. In your mind, that means you can spend $500. Simple. But behind the scenes, your bank is already accounting for things you might not be thinking about: pending transactions, temporary holds, authorizations that haven't fully processed yet, money that looks like it's still there but is already spoken for. So when you try to make a payment, your bank isn't just checking your visible balance, it's checking what's actually available after everything else is considered. And sometimes those two numbers don't match. That's when the decline happens. A really simple example. You check your account in the morning, it says $200. Later that day, you go to buy something for $50. Seems fine, but what you might not notice is that earlier a $180 charge was authorized. Maybe a bill, maybe a subscription, maybe something you forgot about. It hasn't fully cleared yet, so your balance still shows $200, but your available amount is much lower. So when you try to spend that $50, the system says no. Not because you don't have money, but because that money is already in motion. And that's the part that feels unfair, because from your perspective, the money is still there, but from the bank's perspective, it's already gone. There's another layer to this too. Sometimes it's not even about your balance, it's about patterns. Banks constantly monitor how your card is used, where you're spending, how often, how much. If something looks slightly unusual, a different location, a different type of purchase, a sudden change in behavior, the system can block the transaction instantly. Not to punish you, but to protect you. At least that's the idea. But in real life, it just feels like your card stopped working for no reason. You're standing there trying to pay, and suddenly you're explaining yourself to a machine, and it doesn't explain anything back. It just says no. And then there's timing. Timing is a huge part of this. Some transactions update immediately. Others take hours, some take days, so your account is constantly catching up with what you've already done. That means the number you're looking at is always slightly behind reality. Most of the time, that delay doesn't matter, until it does, until everything lines up at once. A pending charge clears, a hold gets applied, a subscription renews, and suddenly the system tightens, right when you're trying to use your card. That's when it fails. And it feels like it came out of nowhere. But it didn't. It was building quietly in the background. The tricky part is that your brain doesn't track money this way. You don't think in terms of pending transactions or authorizations. You think in terms of moments. I spent a little here, just a small thing there. So in your head, everything feels manageable, but the system isn't tracking your story. It's tracking exact timing, exact amounts, exact sequences. And when those don't line up with your expectations, you get that moment, that pause at the counter, that second attempt, that quiet realization that something doesn't make sense. And the easiest reaction is to panic or assume something went wrong. But most of the time, nothing actually broke. The system is just operating on rules you usually don't see. Once you understand that, the situation starts to feel different. Instead of thinking, my card isn't working, you start thinking, what's already in motion right now? What's pending? What hasn't cleared? What the system might already be accounting for? That shift doesn't just help you understand what happened, it helps you stay calm in that moment. Because that moment, standing there, card declined, people waiting, it hits fast and it feels personal. But it's not. It's mechanical. It's timing. It's structure. And once you see it that way, it stops feeling like a mystery. It just becomes something you recognize. So next time it happens, and it probably will at some point, pause for a second. Don't assume the worst. Think about what might already be processing in the background. Because your money didn't disappear, it just wasn't fully available in that moment. And if this has ever happened to you, where your card got declined and you knew you had money, I'm curious what the situation was. Was it a hold? A delayed charge? Something that didn't show up until later? Let me know. I will be back.